And so I will show you an example. So this is the IBM quantum experience. And basically, this allows you to actually run quantum gates and run quantum algorithms on the real quantum computer. So you can see here, in this case, we have 5 quantum bits, because each line represents the quantum bit, it's a register. And then you can see we have the gates on the side. And what you can do is you can drag and drop the gates onto the different qubits, and then see what the output is. So here's a quick video. So here I'm dragging the Hadamard gate, and remember this gate demonstrates the position, and then I'm dragging the measurement, and I'm running it. And so in this case, I'm just going to get the results from the cache, because it's quick. And if you hadn't done a real quantum, and then I'm dragging, you'll end up, you have to wait. So you can see here, this is the result. And in this case, you can see the first line represents 0, and the second line represents 1. And in this case, I think they've run it like 1,024 times. And then they've taken the statistics to see what percentage of the time did you get 0, and what percentage of the time did you get 1. And you can see that actually almost half of the time you get 0, and half the time you get 1. So this is superposition on a real quantum computer. Okay, so we also have other gates. For example, entanglement, we can use something called a C0 gate. And I won't go into the details of this because it gets more involved, but this basically takes 2 qubits and it entangles them together, and then you end up getting 2 entangled qubits. And yeah. Okay, so how do we actually, now you understand the quantum gate, but how do we actually run the quantum algorithm? And a quantum algorithm is just a set of instructions that you give to a quantum computer so that it can do something like find the prime factor of 2 numbers or simulate the molecule. So I'm going to show you actually how you implement Borregas search. And if you remember, this is the one with the walls, where if you had 100 walls, you can actually find any wall in only up to 10 tries. And so to simplify this problem, I'm going to start with 4 walls. And let's say we want to find the wall number 3. Well, as I said, on a normal computer, we call these classical computers, it would take 4 tries. On a quantum computer, it would take 1 try. And you want to, the precise number is 1 because it's up to square root of n, so it's up to 2, but in this case, it's actually, you can do it in 1 try. So how do we actually run this on a quantum computer? Well, you take the ball and you represent it in bits. You have the numbers 0 to 3, and then you represent the bits. And so in this case, we want to end up with the result 1, 1, which is the ball number 3. So now, this is actually the quantum circuit that you would do to run that algorithm. As you can see, you actually now know all of the gates in order to implement it. So you can see, first of all, we have the Hadamard gate, and this puts all of the balls in the superposition. And then we have more Hadamard gates, we entangle the qubits, and we flip some of them, and then in the end, we do a measurement. And the whole point of this is that in a quantum algorithm, what you want to do is you want to take advantage of superposition and entanglement in such a way that you can get to the answer faster. So this is an example of a quantum algorithm. And we can also see it on the IBM security experience, where I've already input all of the gates, and then you can run it, and you can see what result you get. And again, it's just taking some cache quicker. Yeah. So you see here that the 1, 1 is the ball number 3, and we found the ball number 3 with this probability. You're probably wondering, well, why is there some other results for the other numbers? And we'll talk about that a bit later, why that happens. ways to use photons, which is light. You can even use diamonds. And the point of this is that all of these substrates, they have quantum properties, or you can manipulate them in such a way that they exhibit quantum properties. And so what you need is you need something that can be a 1 and a 0, but also a superposition, it can also be entangled. And so there are actually many different ways to build that. This nature is still of quantum atoms and molecules. But the question is, which way actually gets us to a quantum computer faster and more accurately? So no one's really quite sure yet. But I can tell you that the most popular way you could say is superconductors, because IBM and Google have been building these. And that's because they're easier to scale. So we've been able to build a lot of quantum bits of those. But there are other methods too that are sort of catching up as well. So with that being in mind, people always ask me, oh, when will we get quantum computers? And my answer is, well, we actually have quantum computers right now. As I mentioned, IBM and Google have actually built physical quantum computers. The only thing is they're quite limited. And so my question to you, as you know, is like how many physical quantum bits do you think we have currently at the moment? You can now go. Okay, okay, so you guys are right. We have around 50 to 100 physical quantum bits. The million is very optimistic. Yeah, we wish we were that. But so basically, when I say physical quantum bits, so we looked at before the bits 0 and 1, and these were logical quantum bits. So this was actually how you do the computation. When I say physical, I mean so that actually in the hardware we build a quantum bit. But it's the case that not always does one physical quantum bit correspond to one logical quantum bit, because there are lots of errors associated with it. So sometimes we want multiple physical quantum bits to represent one logical quantum bit. So right now we have around 50 to 72-ish quantum bits, and these companies keep announcing new higher numbers. Like IBM is like 50, and then Google is like 72, and then it just keeps increasing. But the thing is, it's actually not just the quantum bit count, it's also the quality of it. Because you can imagine that I mentioned the superposition is like a spinning donut. Well, eventually, this donut actually stops spinning. And it's the same with the quantum bit. It can't stay in superposition forever. It eventually loses its superposition, and it ends up being either 0 or 1. But that's not what we want. We want it to be in superposition as long as possible, so we can do as many computations as possible. But the problem is, because it loses its superposition, that makes it difficult to run like a lot of physical algorithms on it. And so another thing is the quality of the qubit. How long can it stay in superposition for? So it's not just the count we should be looking at, but also the quality of it. And so here's just a very fancy quantum computer that IBM recently announced, and it was very nice in a special glass box. So I talked about this a bit with the challenges of quantum computing. Why haven't we actually built these quantum computers with millions of quantum bits? Well, that's because, as I said, it's hard to keep spinning forever. It's hard to get the quantum properties continuing. And you can imagine that we would like the quantum computer to be still and still like this, but something comes in from the environment and it ruins it. Because when we're looking at quantum bits, it's very, very fragile. And anything from the environment, such as the photons from here, and the atoms and the molecules in the air, it can interact with the quantum bit and ruin its superposition. And it just has this ripple effect where it then ruins the whole quantum computer. This is a very hard problem to physically build these systems, because how do you control something at the same time you coming in and interacting with it ruins it? So that's why it's really hard to build them, but it's very exciting though that these companies have been able to build some of them. different people working on different types of quantum computers. And then the other side is the theory and the application side. And this looks at how we build software for quantum computers and what are the quantum algorithms, the set of instructions that we must give to a quantum computer. Because as I mentioned, we're completely changing the rules of computing. So we can't just simply map our normal algorithms onto a quantum computer. We need to take advantage of superposition and entanglement to get the advantages of quantum computing. So this is just a general look of where we were and where we are. So actually, only like a few years ago, we only had like 0 to 5 qubits. But it isn't until recently that we built, as I mentioned, around 50 qubits. And the future, the future is a long scale, but where do we eventually want to get to? We eventually want to have something called a large-scale quantum computer, which would have millions of qubits. And now I have a question. So, we talked about Shor's algorithm, which can find the time factors for 617-digit number in just 100 seconds. And my question to you now is how many physical qubits do you think we need to run that algorithm? Okay, well, this is a good question, I guess. So, so the answer is actually millions. Yeah. So this is why I guess you shouldn't be scared that all your internet data is going to be broken right now. As I mentioned, we have 50 quantum bits, and we would need millions of physical quantum bits to actually run, to actually find the time factors in just 100 seconds. And so you can see why right now we don't need to worry about quantum computing breaking all of encryption, but we are sort of eventually, hopefully going to get there to around 1 million physical qubits. And so this is my point is that in the past, actually Shor's algorithm was invented in the 1990s, and so in that point it was purely sort of theoretical, right? So they could imagine, as I mentioned with the gate, they could just imagine any sort of gate coming together, and they didn't actually need to think of a physical implementation. And so we had these algorithms like Shor's and Borregas. So recently, why quantum computing is sort of exciting now is because, wow, we have these physical systems, and the question is, maybe we can redesign the software, maybe we can redesign our algorithms to actually run on the current quantum computers we have now. And so this is a new thing called hybrid quantum classical algorithms. And the whole idea is, we actually now use a classical computer, a normal computer, and a quantum computer together to solve types of problems. And the idea is you use the quantum computer for the hard part, and then use the classical computer for the easy part. And then you have a loop between them. And in the future, we hope to create new algorithms. But as you can see, these sorts of algorithms are meant to be run on large-scale quantum computers with millions of qubits. But the current type of algorithms that people are trying to build are meant to be run on our current quantum computers. And a big open question in the field right now is, can we build an algorithm that can make use of our current quantum computers and that can solve some type of problem significantly faster than our normal computers? And a lot of people are actively researching in the field to do this. So I'm going to conclude with a little acronym I came up with. First of all, I like to say that we tend to be, in technology, a big short-term optimist and long-term pessimist. In the short term, it's very unlikely that we're going to have a quantity with millions of qubits in the next couple of years. So people may be like, oh yeah, we're going to solve all of these problems in the next couple of years. So we tend to be very optimistic in the short term, but in the long term, who knows what quantum computers can do? We just can't imagine it. So maybe it's not pessimism, but it's just like ignorance. We can't even imagine what would happen with this new technology. And so I have this acronym called MAP, and this is what do we need to do now in the quantum computing field to get to where we want to be. want a quantum computer to show us that it can outperform our current hardware using a better algorithm. Because that would be a big milestone that would show that quantum computers are actually useful. Applications, we need to continue to create useful algorithms and applications for existing quantum computers. Theory, so there's a lot of interesting things in the theory side, but we need to find more problems that are hard to do on a normal computer, but easy to do on a quantum computer. The hardware, we need to reduce the error in the quantum gates to the qubits, and continue to create quantum computers with more qubits. And then finally, we need to shift our mindset from the classical realm to the quantum realm and stop thinking too classically. Actually, Peter Shaw, he wrote sort of a paper saying, like, why haven't more quantum algorithms been built? And one of the things he suggested was that, well, we've been so stuck in like this classical mindset that we need to sort of expand and think more into the quantum mindset, which is very hard to do, obviously. So I've shown you that quantum computers could solve certain types of problems significantly faster. We could simulate nature more accurately, which could help us design new medicines and potentially help us in artificial intelligence and machine learning. So I'd say there are two future states of the universe. One without a quantum computer, a large-scale quantum computer, the one with millions of qubits, and one with a large-scale quantum computer. So right now, we're kind of in a superposition of both. We're kind of rooted, who knows? But as researchers, our goal is to increase the probability of the large-scale quantum computer size, so that we have a higher probability of a quantum computer. Thank you.
The thing I would say to you is, like maybe before, I think I asked a question like because we've had quantum computing in the government and other spaces, and we're starting to talk about it for 3-4+ years, creating collections, finance projections. I think it's a little disingenuous that we don't have part of the process. Now, I'm not going to say more than that. I'm just talking about it. I think we need to probably look at how do we let the data that's given and the data and the advances that the person uses to actually be used. I think it's an whole way to job. Anything else you want to talk about?
Thank you.
Great presentation.
Thank you.
Could you stand up, everybody, to hear your questions, and thank you.
Can you please say two words about ecoherence, right? Outside it is quantum random. What's the quantum random?
Yeah. So the decoherence, I mentioned, it's sort of like the spinning donut, and when it eventually stops spinning, we call that sort of decoherence. So what happens is you have the quantum bits, and they eventually lose their quantum properties. And so how can we actually fight this decoherence? Well, it depends on the way that you physically build a quantum computer. So, for example, in the superconducting architecture, you need to cool down the quantum computer to millikelvin, and it's cooler than outer space. It's extremely cold. 0 Kelvin is the absolute coldest temperature. And so that is one way to reduce decoherence. So imagine that you're cooling it down, you're stopping as many interactions. Well, it also depends on the architecture. It needs to be cool in order to work. But there are also other ways to do it. For example, in a vacuum, you can have a vacuum. So remember that I said the interactions are like the atoms and molecules interacting with it. The vacuum is basically where you're pushing out all of the air. So that could also help with it. And then in terms of quantum realm, you, and like that in itself might take exponential time. So if that takes exponential time, that would obviously ruin all of the benefits. And so there was a paper by Seth Lloyd and some others that called QRAM, which is this idea that you can do that, but no one has actually physically implemented that yet. And so it's not practically possible as of now, but hopefully some hardware people will try and do it, but it's a really hard problem. Yeah. Yeah.
This first company or government is much of large scale
well, I don't think it will be. I mean, I think there's a lot of people working on it, and so it's a very collaborative effort. So I think there's multiple things. One is I hope that by the time we have these large-scale prosecutions, we will have come up with other encryption systems. Like I mentioned, this is an active field in cryptography called post-quantum cryptography. And the idea is they want to create, and some people have actually theoretically created these cryptography systems that could be safe against quantum computers, although we're not quite sure, but it's not quite practical, and all of these other things. So people are actively working on that, but it will actually take some time to replace all of it. If you think all of our data is encrypted, it could take years to actually replace all of these systems. So that's why we do need to work on it now. So I think hopefully by that time we will have different systems, so no one will go crazy and steal everyone's data. But even if that doesn't happen, I think I think a lot of people are working on it. Usually you see these inventions happen at the same time. It's like really interesting when you look at different inventions and histories. People actually independently come up with it at the same time. So I think maybe that could happen as well. Yeah.
Earlier in the example, you showed picking out the number 3 false.
Yeah.
It's a statistical result.
Yeah.
80% or so. This is quite different from classical computer. In this case, how do you really decide that number 3 statistically is 50%?
Yeah.
So in this case, the following question is that in the last few years, we're saying like 60 or 100 qubit vision to prove the quantum imminence. But then it's also error correction using more qubits out of the 50 qubits. Can you give us a name and a general idea? Like in the next 3 to 5 years, what are we really expecting?
Yeah. Okay, great. The first question was, as I mentioned, it's all dealing with probabilities, right? So, as I mentioned, maybe 80% of the time you get the right answer. So actually, Borregas algorithm, the example I showed, so this is also a question of is it deterministic or non-deterministic? And in Borregas algorithm, you can actually design the algorithm so that it is deterministic, essentially so that it does give you 100% probability of getting the right answer. And that's actually what we want, right? In a quantum algorithm, it's better if you design an algorithm that gives you the answer 100% of the time. But there are other quantum algorithms that can't get to that sort of level, and that they maybe get the right answer 99% of the time. So this is why I showed you the example of the superposition, is that you want to run the statistics, you want to run the circuit like thousands of times, so you can see, 99% of the time we get this. And if you theoretically know the answer should come up 99% of the time, we can say, yeah, that is the right answer. So then the other question was about error correcting and stuff like that. So basically, as I mentioned, we built quantum computers with quantum bits. But as I mentioned, there's a lot of error associated with it. Again, with the spinning qubit, it eventually loses it. And I mentioned this idea of logical qubits and physical qubits. So the logical qubit is what I showed you with the zeros and the ones and the gates. That's assuming everything is working perfectly. But the physical qubit, sometimes it doesn't work perfectly. So the idea with error correction is that you can use multiple physical qubits to represent, let's say, one logical qubit. So you have 9 physical qubits, and that is equivalent to 1 logical qubit. And so that's why it's harder to run, for example, Shor's algorithm, because 1,000 logical qubits. But then for each of those logical qubits, we need like, hundreds of thousands of physical qubits. And then we're now into millions of physical qubits. And so yeah, so that's the big thing right now is like trying to basically increase the number of qubits, but also increase the quality so that we need less physical qubits to represent one logical qubit. Okay. Yeah.
You mentioned two ways to really help parents from intuitively, I would think that really going to prevent motion down when it's accumulating by the notification.
Yeah. So, well, the first thing is in the superconducting architecture, you're dealing with superconductors. So, in order to see those superconducting properties, you actually need to be very, very cool. So that's the first side. But maybe I can just show on the intuition side, the second side, is you can imagine that, well, all the atoms and molecules, they have energy in the air and they're moving. But if you sort of lower their energy, the temperature, you lower their energy, and they can stop interacting with the qubits. The idea is that you want to stop the interactions of everything in the environment. With regards to the qubits.
Maybe we can take one more question.
Yeah.
So when is the first laptop?
I wish I knew.
That's a great question.
Well, so I think the thing is, in the near term, in the next few years, quantum computers will be specialized. As I mentioned, I think quantum simulations is the most obvious application. So in chemistry and physics, you want to find properties of certain molecules, and that directly maps to quantum computers. So that will be in the next few years. Quantum computers will be very specialized. And then, beyond that, maybe the applications like maybe we can do quantum computers for machine learning, and then it has more general applications. And in the future, it's really hard to say whether we'll have the quantum laptop. But right now, in the next few years, it will be for specialized applications.
Some of that, great question, Edward, and for this session, and some of that will address the detail in the canvas in the next part of this event. So right now, first, thanks, Jessica. Great job. We have food, and then we'll come back in 15 minutes, and we'll start the panel session.
Great presentation.
By the way,
There's a reason there's a
great deal of work.
they were actually telling you no way. Okay, that's great. I love it.
But I like to do props. I mean, I still do it all, but I still do one, and I copy it. Yeah. Well, I finally got the expert to give like a temporary solution for this morning. Finally, they sent me the final report. So I sent that over to the experts according to the issues, and I understand that all the experts are somebody those people on the town. That's what I'm sure, but I think something that are, technically absolutely credit free. So if they want to make the inquiry, Shelters, they are, even I think it's like one of the closest. One of the organizers.
I'm actually, we have to make money.
Okay.
Oh, this?
I didn't think somebody shot me.
Oh, so that's not.
No.
We're looking at.
Well, that's fine.
Yeah, I think it's fine.
No, they're handing out everything is on the field. I
Pretty much
showed you like this.
Okay, yeah, okay, they're doing it, okay, so that's fine, that's cool. I want to, okay, fine, perfect, perfect, it's where it belongs, sorry.
Okay.
I'm trying to find something.
So are we gonna?
Yeah, I can get you contact.
Okay. You have a card?
I probably have a couple years ago, but I wasn't ready to bring it something really cool like Pandora.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll protect you right now. Yeah. That's amazing.
All right.
Bill?
That's
like from Google Ads.
Oh, you're good. Oh, you're getting a hug. No. Who is? Okay, so there's a at Google responsible for response. But it's not you. Okay. Oh, good. Fabio? Okay, and you're with? You are? Okay, thank you. I'll come back.
Great.
And you said yes, they're sending you out, so we're missing the barbecue. Yes, in favor of it. Okay. And is that operates separate from?
Too many restrictions, huh?
So that's probably why you don't. Okay, great. And there's, right, I assume 180 were Google people, right? So I guess that's why it's true. That's why it's true.
Emails outside, where I saw you.
All right, so we didn't have any facts. So I'm assuming you guys have done them before, right? So basically, what I'd like to do is start with each one of you to make a short introduction, and then those of you,
But it, no, just throw it out. Don't worry about it, we got plenty of food.
No, that's fine. And then you talk for a few minutes about your goals. That's clear?
That's an introduction, and then you go back.
And then we're gonna go back. You'll be okay? Okay, so then, and then, first question is going to be, okay, guys, when are we going to get something?
Mine, you probably have imagined like this, like,
Oh, really?
Money sponsors the food.
Oh, so, yes, I remember you.
Yes, from the last one, yes. Yes. Before we left. How you doing? You also volunteer? There are, point about your background is what?
Marketing.
And then,
You're lost.
We have an in-house marketing person, but you're right, marketing and lawyers sometimes are like. So I like it, but marketing and lawyers.
When I spoke to Mark, it was spoke to the bad guy. But really, you have to meet them.
Well, you're meeting people, it is coming here and sponsoring events,
It does.
to interact with everyone.
Right, and then someone might just say, you know, I went to an event, these lawyers seem nice, why don't you call them? That's all I get. That's it. That's all I want. But, I am here for I love it. I've learned to do it, so I had a marketing event at lunch where I spoke, so I was able to, well, I think just lunch, there's some days you do the right side of the brain thinking, and then there's some days when you just have to let it go and go with the marketing. So I've actually learned to just let it go on days. Mostly commercial real estate, so I do a lot of contract work, and a lot of contract work. And then I do some, I help people respond to things in real estate. There's a lot of taxes every year.
Yeah.
I help them deal with tax. There's a lot of engineering in real estate. I help them respond to that. Then I help people buy and sell real estate. But believe it or not, I know it's different than this, but it's really the ability to listen to the same story.
Well, I mean, your relationship in the picture that you're seeing here today eventually will need to play. So,
I'm hoping we need a patent.
so once upon a time, I think we're in the right track. By the way, thank you for hosting, for providing this.
Economics or marketing?
I have a degree in economics, but I didn't
Yeah, we have two marketing people. It's a tough job, you know?
Yeah. You know, the thing is that my field, I do field marketing. Nowadays, most of the marketing is physical marketing. And I think I would die with that. It's so boring. I just public relations and other forms of marketing. You know, about 2 years ago, I used to use public relations and marketing for H&R Block, the tech company. So I had all the way from Milpitas to Oregon. So I would go and interact with government agencies, with nonprofits, community partners, with private companies, with the community. So I had all sorts of events. And that's, you know, that's what I like. Because I'm programming and all that.
No, I'll do the program. No, I'm fine. I had it. All right, let me make sure we go.
Absolutely.
All right, I come and move that second banner in. Yeah, no. Sure.
I said that
What do you guys think?
Who has the 42 code food and sending the brochure around.
I saw him, but
Where is this? Which company?
oh,
We're gonna watch.
person there.
I know it's a
Yeah, and you don't go.
There are
don't know. Are you on the okay, so you'll talk about algorithms. You are right. Your need is something. Right, just as you were just
people waiting outside, can't get in. We don't want to let them in. They're waiting in the hot sun.
Wow.
We finally packed the room, didn't we?
That is very impressive. Very, very impressive.
And Google. Oh, basically Google.
Congratulations, that was absolutely amazing. I am not a science person, but I very much enjoy your presentation. So how long have you been studying quantum computers?
A few years now, yeah.
Jessica, I'm super quick. Thanks. How much are you?
Sorry?
The transportation, what are you?
Oh, I'll send you an email after.
Send me, please.
Yeah, because
Okay.
I didn't know how to.
I'll pay by PayPal.
Yeah, no
Okay.
worries. Yeah, okay. I mean, I'm
Yeah, we'll catch up.
Yeah. I'm gonna save the rest of the event.
Oh, you are? Great, okay.
Yeah. Is it okay if I just put this in? Yes, absolutely. I just want, yeah. Okay, it's just my props. Thank you.
Yeah, well. I will send you an email.
I need my computer up there.
Okay. I'd definitely like to talk to you. And, yes, feel well, maybe last time,
No. Actually, the guys who sponsor here, I just want to, I can see the cover in LA. What do you guys? I'm just on the last night. I like to live past here. I'm a oh, yeah? Here, yeah. Oh, that's it, yeah. So, I can get like a beer. Yeah. That's me. No, I'm happy to see. Yeah. And they're there, like, we got the whole property. Yeah. Oh, yeah, it is.
After the event. After the event.
Oh, yeah.
With the wine.
And also,
They shut it down.
oh, no wine. Okay,
Get up to eat some of those in the corner.
That's why.
Yeah, go in the corner.
You'll see it. Okay, that's correct. Yeah, I know. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm ready to roll. Okay, so it's like a hey, I also about your clicker.
Good evening. Welcome to the second CSTA, the second Promise and Peril of quantum computing. Last November, we held our first event in a room half the size, and we overpacked it. So we're doing it again, bigger and better, and we're going to make this our quarterly affair. We're so fortunate to have a panel of 8 distinguished experts and scientists to speak to us tonight. And we even have 2 female scientists this evening. It is wonderful to see some diversity in this cutting-edge field. If I say it takes a village to pull up an event like this, it will be truly a serious understatement. Since the moment we locked in this venue at Google, Nathan Shaw literally married himself to this event with his undivided focus. And this kind of event cannot be possible without the generous support of our sponsors and many volunteers. So I'll let Nathan give big shout out to our collaborators.
Thanks. One of the, up on the screen, what makes Silicon Valley so preeminent? I mean, there's lots of places in the world over this county. And I think what the idea here is that, this is my thought of it, is that, here we go, okay. It's a meritocracy fueled by reciprocity. Meritocracy, you don't have a monopoly on, that happens elsewhere. But it's the reciprocity part that I think that makes this area so unique compared to other parts of the world, right? And here you're going to see evidence of people giving back for what they got in terms of helping others. So starting with, we have the SBA, which is the organization that Nikki is part of, that started this quantum computing event. And next we have the Buchhalter. If you want to feed your mind, when you came here, you got to feed your stomach too. So they're a regional law firm, right? And they sponsor a lot of, they really believe in giving back to the startup community. This is one of several events they sponsored. And it's very nice of them to do that. And that's the reason that, because people do things like that, Google and Buchhalter and the other people you hear about, you can do these events without charging. And no money is literally exchanged hands for all to get here. I think that's pretty amazing when you think about it. Okay, so there's also one of the reasons you people came here is you got to notice announcements from various people. That's how you found out about the event. That's not going to be a packed house. And this is someplace that I mentor at, and they help people come here by sending it out. In fact, one of the Alchemist companies is here today. You see where, but it went through Alchemist as an accelerator. So if you're in the startup scene, you're interested in getting some help with that, come to see me later, or you can look them up. Okay, and also Founder Space, another place that people know about this event. And they're all over the world, and the CEO just wrote a great book called Making Elephants Fly. It's really a good book about startup teams. Very experienced in Silicon Valley startups, so that would be something you should look at. Okay, Startup Digest. How many people know about Startup Digest here? You ever heard of it? Not too many. You should look it up. They are the premier, they curate events. They've been around for 8 years, and every Monday they come out, but they look at all the events coming up that week, and they pick what they think are the best events. See that man is shaking his head, he's recently, right? So you go to, come here, you look at 50, 60 events during the week. Which ones are the best? They take the 3 or 4 best, and of course they pick ours. So that's something that's really worth signing up for. Okay. And that, okay, and finally, VP Task Force, June right in here, it's June. Also, a great startup event. So they have something coming up, and they help people get here as well. And that is the end of that, the people that help us get here. So without further ado, let me turn this over to Bill. There he is.
Can I borrow that mic before you walk off stage? Right? Oh, we got the door. So, all right. So, can you hear me? What do you want? I got everything I need. All right. So, thank you guys all for coming. This is a phenomenal audience to reflect a phenomenal panel you have here. I am not sure that there's any place on the planet in recent history that we have collected so much intelligence on quantum computing in one place at one time. So thank you to Nathan and Nikki for pulling all this together. That was really impressive. So to get us started, let's find out, what sort of talent we have here and what companies are represented. So I'm going to start with Borregas. if you could quickly introduce yourself.
I'm Nima Arizes. I'm VP of Strategy at Spaghetti. Background is from chemistry, and I'm a couple of Spaghetti a little more later. That's
my name is Joe. I'm in research. And my background is
Hi, my name is Fabio Sanchez. I'm a senior research scientist at UCLA. My background is actually in high-energy physics, so now I do algorithms and platforms.
Good evening. My name is Borregas and the business development for the quantum computing team, and I want to thank our hosts and our sponsors for having us here today.
Hi, I'm Stefan Reichenauer. My background is also in high-energy physics. Year or so ago. And I'm at X, but officially speaking here tonight, I'm not representing but here at
As a really smart individual. Okay. Yes.
Hi, my name is Diamond, and I work for AT&T, and I'm their technical staff who's running the network.
And my name is Kritik. I'm from Cambridge Quantum Computing. My background is in computational chemistry and physics, and I do business development.
Pretty astounding. Okay, so that's great group. Okay, so now we're going to have you each spend a couple of minutes talking about what you are doing in your company. So the philosophy you're taking toward attacking this problem of quantum computing. So how is Rigetti attacking quantum computing?
So we are a full stack quantum computing company. It basically means that we develop our hardware, we manufacture our hardware, and on top of that, we develop a control hardware that is required to operate the quantum computer. We also have a software development kit that enables access for the hardware in order to program it, because as we were talking about, the need for software platforms to get access to this on computers, and that's what we develop as well. And on top of that, we develop applications that make quantum computer useful for different industries.
Okay, so how is your approach to hardware different from anybody else's?
Depends on who anybody is. We, at Rigetti, we build superconducting qubits. Superconducting qubits have shown a great promise for scaling quantum computers. In the near term, our approach is not very different in terms of fundamentals of physics from IBM or Google. However, it is significantly different from other technologies such as ion trap or logical semiconductor approaches, which rely on different physical entities as to represent qubits.
Okay, so with that, let's turn it over to Joe. If you can talk about how you guys are attacking the quantum computing problem.
So our strategy is to pursue universal fault tolerance and developing hardware and software as well as applications. And working with a number of industry partners. Everybody from large universities around the world to a lot of large industry partners from automotive all the way to energy, but the other industries, as well as a lot of startups. I think that I observed is such a unique approach that we really cool at it, fun, iterating on the hardware software application. Not only with the
Are you co-developing on the hardware side or mainly on the software side?
Both.
Well, no, IBM. Are you? So you said we're really co-developing,
right?
And so I guess the whole partnership ecosystem side, but on the hardware side, the hardware you're developing, is that IBM proprietary or do you have a consortium?
Yeah, I would say hardware is developing.
It is. Okay.
Yeah. And that's all happening. or you're just trying to get there fast. You know, I hope in the here from getting that fast. And you know, one of the big reasons because that my business hasn't passed any using it as a use of the other applications. Literally, the number of that lab, which is pretty good. Taking down space and certain you know, and have them online every day or so. But we start. Very good. Okay, Fabio, you're taking a very different approach as you see it.
That's right. So, UCWare is a purely software company. So we're developing a platform for running computation that is hardware agnostic. What that means is that for our platform, you have access to essentially all the algorithms that have promised to show a quantum advantage, essentially something that will run better on a quantum computer than the state-of-the-art classical algorithm that is available to performance learning tasks. And we also want to make all the available hardware vendors available as a backend to run those algorithms. Now, as you might all know, that right now there is no algorithm that runs faster on a quantum computer than classically. But as hardware develops, we expect it to change. So we're making this platform available also to conduct experimentation on the different algorithms, because some of them we won't know unless we process. So we can prove complexity theoretic arguments from our algorithms together, but others we actually just have to try. Yeah, we also offer professional services, which essentially perform an analysis of whether or not industry and the applications in industry, what those computational problems, we analyze what those computational problems are, and we investigate whether or not quantum algorithms can be tailored to that specific application and perform preliminary analysis to essentially forecast what size and what errors quantum computers will need to have in order to have an advantage on that particular application.
Okay, so we're going to talk more about applications, you know, later on in the panel. So we'll get back to that. The next, Josh, Google, what are you guys up to?
Yeah. We're also like we're getting an IBM aiming to build a universal purpose gate on it. That differs, I think, that sort of talked about from the market in that, my perspective, you can think about it as analog versus digital. You know, we used to work on quantum annealers, so it's a little bit more analog, and then you have open full qubits. As a pro, you can have many qubits, but as a con, you have very good space computation versus on general purpose. You can have high control qubits as a pro, you're going to have many qubits. So that's really our focus on our course right now. Currently, qubit chip algorithm being achieved more expressive.
Okay, very cool. All right, and next. All right, so I'm going to say something about an aspect of quantum computing that maybe not emphasized. You know, it seems like, you know, with this camera here, seems like, you know, this idea that you might need a PhD. And that's just not true. It's not as complicated as people sort of make it sound. Resonates with it. And part of what I've been doing is thinking about ways and developing sort of teaching and course materials to create a workforce of quantum computers. At some point, when quantum computers are ubiquitous and they need a group of software engineers and programming everything, and there's sort of a pedagogical role. And so something that I'm how do you work on is attempt to sort of fill that
internal, resources at various companies to bring up for people, but also trickle it down into FTE like huge amounts of quantum computing being taught to freshmen the same way that I thought it was. But someday I'll have to, and it should happen, but somebody has to put in one of these efforts. Yvonne, what are you guys doing at ACC?
So I'm going to answer if you were asking me already doing quantum computing all day, not doing anything with quantum computing really. We actually focus on quantum networks, which is probably less our talk about topic. But by quantum networks, we're really looking at how there has been very much interest in it opened up when we thought about bits and qubits and bits. So what can we really open up in networks when we start making a lot of qubits and qubits versus bits? And what does it mean to really connect quantum computers together, quantum sensors together, and what kind of advantages do you get? And that's the kind of problems that we're currently investigating as a network company and chipset. And so far we've been focusing a lot on, first of all, figuring out where our technology currently exists. If you just went to just some vendors and bought off-the-shelf components, how far can we do the quantum network today, and what are the advantages are right now? And what are the timelines to actually put some engineering effort to refine and actually make it deployable in a regular network. And another thing that we're looking at is also looking at where there's a lot of quantum algorithms developed, and there's a lot of use cases we're talking about. It's the same thing for quantum networks. We're not even sure what network layers and quantum networks mean. So we're also looking at what are the right way of thinking about quantum networks versus regular networks. Does it even make sense for us to talk about data flow? But it really makes sense for us to stick with the current layer model, or do we need to call the new layer? And we're also looking at different protocols. What are some protocols that were simply not possible in classical, and we just have to deal with it? And but now with the idea of quantum and these correlations that are not possible in classical, how can you take advantage of it and really make different types of connections? And I'm not talking like just from me to all the way across the country. So these are kind of connections that can be even useful within a building size system, where there are plenty of interesting communications going on at the building level or data center level. And so what are some applications that can be done that way? Also, we're looking at how can you connect multiple sensors, so classical sensors versus quantum sensors. So classical sensors, you really have this idea of one fire, and that's the one sensor that you want to actually. So you can really connect all the quantum sensors together. You can kind of start to, in a very rough term, look at it as a whole system of sensors. Everything about how all the systems are responding back to you. So now you don't have to think about the sensor fires versus other sensor fires, or what kind of what can happen. So these are some interesting approaches that can be happening, and we're trying to make it as possible and as fast as possible to be product.
Wow. Okay. Thank you. Who knew? Who knew? Thank you. Okay. Great. Thanks, Christine.
So at CQZ, we actually started 2014 on the software. We invested in machine learning, all the perception for hardware. We do deep testing on chemistry as well. But one thing that kind of separates from other startups in network and Google and partner networks is our effort in quantum encryption. So we have an encryption device we unveiled 2 weeks ago, I would say.
Okay. Great. So, boy, a fair amount of diversity. We've only really got one sort of quantum computer architecture. We don't really get any ion trap guys or any atomic guys here. Maybe we'll talk about those later on. But I realized that I forgot to introduce myself. For those of you who don't know, my name is Bill Reichert, and I'm managing director of Garage Technology for Steve and Early Stage Venture Capital Firm here in Silicon Valley. But I'm also a partner at Technical Tech Ventures, which is a relatively new venture fund out of Japan that is set up by global experts here in Silicon Valley. And we've already invested in 140 companies. And with We also happen to have, I happen to have an investment in Google, but that has nothing to do with my art quantum, and an AT&T as well. So, so I'm pretty well covered, and my mom has an investment in IBM. So, sorry about that. So yeah, pretty good. You could send me this. I'd love to do that. So, all right. So with that, so it's the big question for quantum is, when are we going to see interesting applications that are going to start coming out of all of your good work? And so what are those interesting applications? What are the interesting applications that are going to come out of quantum in our lifetime, right? In some sort of near term. How long is it going to take for these approved of all of this?
Sure. So I think most of my colleagues on this panel will agree that we're a few years away from having something substantial. One thing I do want to add, I think, for looking at chemistry, machine learning, but in encryption, one of our biggest focuses. Quantum technologies, I think, in the next few years, deep interest and uses, especially in encryption, quantum sensing, and quantum random generation. There's a few things that can be developed in the next 2 to 3 years. For example, we're interested in but we say in the next few years, that's something that we can do more. But in terms of on computing from the algorithm perspective, on chemistry is a very interesting subject. It's a very good example. So the place I invest on chemistry.
5 years. Okay. When are we going to need quantum encryption?
That's a good question. So again, going to Jessica's presentation, so we're to crack RC2040, for example, we need a lot of qubits, a lot of logical qubits, and so we're many years away from that. But actually, I want to bring to your attention. So there was a paper that came out a few weeks ago in China, actually. Personally, our company doesn't do any annealing, but they demonstrated factoring on 7-digit integer using quantum units. That kind of galvanized an interest in quantum encryption. Really close to the from a gate-based machine, I think.
So quantum networks, when are we going to see something interesting?
I mean, as a matter of fact, some formal quantum networks are already deployed. So quantum key distribution systems is something that's been around for a while, and there are companies that are responsible to deploy it for you. But the only problem is currently the way that we can do the quantum key distribution system is, while it is very safe to if someone sees problems, can get it. But there needs to be something called trusted user space, where there is really well documented, and you really trust no one it will be great to be able to do distribution. So you probably heard from China has this Beijing to Shanghai network. That's all done in vaccine, but that is already deployed. In quantum center-wise, we already use an atomic clock of quantum center. So it's not as far as you think it is. It's just a matter of trying to get beyond GPD. I think the quantum computing is a very well-selling application that is kind of took over as quantum network and to GPD. Always a lot of security. So that kind of limited, I think, the quantum a little bit, and now people are starting to discover, no, that's not all that it is. And with the quantum network maturing, and for networks, the memory we don't need to be for whole 1 minute. That's all we really need. So we don't need a huge, long time scale of memory. The really early rudimentary quantum networks will be just enough with quantum networks to be able to use it. And in that case, I would say in small room scale, we can even look at 3 years, maybe 2 years, depending on what kind of program But I think it's not, unlike the quantum computing, it's more, we're starting to do a lot of effort in really opening our mind and looking about protocol and some applications. It's not quantum computing.
So the highest best use of a quantum network is in what, very high secure environments and data centers, or what's the highest best use of quantum secure network?
Well, so far it has been the security. That was really what was going for quantum network. But I don't think in the future necessarily with security, it will be synchronization with the other things that can take advantage of quantum to be able to do. So I think it depends on what kind of protocol, and it's also when you really don't trust the other party that's sending you information. That's another. There are a lot of interesting protocols that can help you, even if you don't trust the person sending you information. So if that person doesn't trust you, still being able to come up with an agreement. That's another interesting property of quantum.
So, Bob, what do you think is first out of the gate?
Yeah, okay, so let me first kind of things that are going to be last out of the gate. So then, these famous things like over search algorithms or factors, those are the things that are going to be last. Those are the, those are the things that are going to require millions of very high quality in order to run effectively. If people can speculate on how long it's going to take for us to get there, a common answer is 10 years. Okay, but this is, I believe that this 10 years is just one of those numbers where, it doesn't, 5 years from now, it's still going to be 10 years. And part of the reason there is there's a good chance, I think, that, and maybe we'll get back to this later, that in order to get to that point, it's going to require some kind of breakthrough with the technology that we can't really see how it's going to. You don't really see the approach in. So that's the last. That's the last thing. In terms of things that are first out, that's like a really good and important. What is going to be like a killer app for quantum computers before you get to the solution? And I guess I'll mention one that could be one of the early ones, but maybe not something that's worth doing, but something that's good. And that is if you really care about super high quality management, that you could use a very near term quantum to generate very high quality verify or generated and nobody cheated and gave you numbers that the problem is very expensive. You might not value it with the cost of doing the generation, but that is something.
Okay. Do I need to give me one more sentence on who would be willing to pay for very high quality number generation?
I'm not sure, but you could imagine that somebody was running and they wanted to, but this is not.
So apparently, Yvonne, you have an idea.
I mean, no, I don't have an idea. Initially, was talking to traders, and I think this year, the IT quantity is a very mature, been around for a while. System, they're system, and they, I believe, came up with a very tiny quantum random number generator system.
Sorry. But it fits in your purse. Wow.
Yeah, unfortunately, my phone's not right now. Sorry about that. So they've actually announced this year that they sold this system, but to I think it was one of the network companies that are putting it in the network companies to generate some random network number sorting. But before that, I've actually talked to them about their customers and apparently before that they were having hard time finding customers, and the only customer was apparently some religious cult that was really uncommon and really wanted to buy it or. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, that's depressing.
But I think it's just because like I don't think the way the IT conflict device works is a lot compared to what is suggesting. So I think, first of all, people haven't really thought about what you can do with a truly random number that you can do this project. So, I think it's like another thing that we kind of break our barriers, what we think are the limits, and really do for that.
And that is, yeah, so our device is actually a certified quantum number generation. Right. So I figured that was very right? But I would say one of the applications, the idea is you do have, the encryption algorithms that you have now with quantum cryptography. But the biggest area that can be penetrated with that is in random number generation. So you want a truly certified entropy source when you create. You have a seed, you need to have it. So there are quantum random number generations for 20 years, but there's nothing that can prove that your entropy source. So that's what's happening with cryptographic devices.
Okay, thanks. So Raj, up to you. So what do you think, what does Google think, or you, is the first really interesting application?
Similar to my colleague, I think a lot of them are 10 years away, but starting in reverse order, I actually agree with everything you shared. A lot of the headlines that you'll read out there are meant to build on heighten the urgency, but in reality, you do need a fully directed scale on computers to do practice today. But that's not something that is happening tomorrow or in my opinion even for years. It's going to be much further down the road. Some areas of interest, molecule simulation, maybe. These are all areas of research, so please don't take this as a product or something we're done. But there are areas that are interesting. We publish papers around. Our team also published a paper around quantum neural net. But the concept that you could have a hybrid classical quantum neural net is machine learning or training a model. So there's no quantum computer today that you can run a neural net requirement of the model versus what computers. But if you were, let's say, in the near future, able to run 90% of it classically and have that final layer of your neural net be quantum hardware, you essentially have the ability to reduce the label noise that a neural net subject to train and improve the accuracy by 40%. Again, research is something that doesn't say, but it could be a very interesting near-term application as we enter what's known as the noisy intermediate scale quantum computing.
Now, earlier you said you guys are testing a 72-qubit machine. And you said, I think the words were, and we're hoping to demonstrate concurrency with it. So what are you going to be streaming? With 72 qubits?
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people love that work. The caveat that, right, this has become a buzzword out there a bit, and I'll explain why in my opinion. Quantum supreme or quantum supremacy really just means that a quantum computer that outbids sort of the best classical supercomputer in the world, quantum mathematical calculation. It took roughly a millisecond, to do something that the best supercomputer in the world is going to take months to a year to do. Now, that's incredibly impressive. It's a fly on the moon type of moment where like we've achieved something. But at the same time, I wouldn't say that's commercially useful or leads to a commercial application either. It's a tipping point. But after that, there's going to be a period of time to find that first killer app, and there's going to be a lot of discovery, trial and error.
Okay. Obvious. What do you guys think are the first things that are going to turn your corporate clients or your government clients miles, for having to?
Yeah, I think that's kind of a research question. And well, that all of what I say. So as you very say, this is which is an interesting milestone. And then just to comment a little bit on the certifiable random number generator. What it more or less is was an attempt from in research to see can you come up with an application of this currency experiment. And And the application is that you can generate random numbers, and you can do a classical computation later to actually check that the random numbers you got are actually truly random. So now, whether or not someone will pay the cost to run this experiment and also be willing to check this, because you have to write code to then perform this check, that remains to be seen. And you know, if anyone has any ideas for who might want this, I'm all ears.
Anybody? Come on.
Happy to chat later. My personal opinion about when and what we'll see, you know, if we have maybe 100 to 500 very good but still noisy qubits, you may be able to perform some interesting simulations. Now, whether or not that will work, we'll just have to run and see. But there's, you know, a lot of speculation and a lot of research in the chemistry space that because some of the problems are sufficiently hard and, you know, they're sufficiently quantum, they're kind of naturally simulated by a quantum computer. Although, and there's a similar, not in chemistry, but in optimization. If you have optimization problems that are sufficiently hard and sufficiently unstructured, but at the same time easily mappable to binary variables, then there are also algorithms that show promise in that regard. Now, I think a problem with that is that the problems that are interesting for industry have been studied for a really long time, and a lot of them have more structure than you might think. So if there's a little bit of structure in these computational problems, even though the unstructured version of them is really, really hard and it would take a really long time to get the best, provably best solution to this problem, often either the best solution doesn't really matter, good enough is great, and there's great classical algorithms that do that, or the problem has enough structure that secretly it's not that hard. So, you know, we essentially have to just try a lot of problems and have a 100 to 500 quantum computer out there to see what it can do. Now, the quantum algorithms are, you know, catching up. There's heuristics that you may come up with that may improve them. So I think that within 2 to 5 years, you might start seeing a few interesting applications that a quantum computer will perform better than classical computers, and that are useful for industry.
So help me on the software side. So academics have been working on quantum algorithms for decades, right? And so I don't know how to think about the appropriate metrics for progress in quantum algorithms. But if I were to graph progress in quantum algorithms in terms of improvement and or innovation and or a number of new algorithms or new approaches, you know, would I see a sort of, which way would the curve be going? Did it sort of, has it flattened out, or is it accelerating? What's going on in terms of innovation in quantum software?
I mean, it's kind of hard to measure quality of research output, I'd say. So, I mean, there's definitely the papers that clearly everyone knows are important. Right. There's papers that a lot of the community would say is just like a small addition, but I think ultimately, you know, any research is research. So someone doing something new may or may not be interesting.
Okay.
I think inevitably we have seen more papers coming out on this, just because we've seen more investment in industry and there's more scientists working on it, there's more funding for it, so there's definitely more papers. Like, are we going to see another paper that picks up as much steam as Shore? Hopefully, but that I wouldn't count on it. But for the comment on progress on algorithms in the near term, just like classically, there's heuristic algorithms that work probabilistically, and you won't be able to prove something mathematically that the scaling of this algorithm is this or that and is exponentially faster than the other one. There's a lot of heuristic ones that kind of require you to test them out. And right now we can test out the quantum algorithms up the sizes, if you run a supercomputer, depending on how much you're willing to pay, maybe 30 qubits. But those heuristics might be really good and as good as the classical ones that we'll only see them if we test them out at 100.
Okay, Joe. So what's your thought on, kind of what's going to come out with?
So I think the earliest things are probably going to be finding use cases, just stimulating, especially in their computational chemistry. I probably agree with
Okay.
And this is what I'm seeing, both inside and the advances, and it also encourages people to perhaps go out there and do a paper for future work. Rotating and he wrote it about 10 years after he was thinking about, gee, what's the progress in quantum algorithm? And he talked about it in the paper very well. That was what we got to do. We've actually,
So should we be scared? I mean, that, we haven't made that much harder for 15 years. Is that the implication? Or, okay.
Well, you can then nobody has it in real time.
Okay. So we're still waiting.
And then others and stuff, once you get hardware in the hands of a lot of innovative software, magical things happen. Those, like Google Scholar last year, and with terms like, quantum machine thinking, quantum chemistry, and you'll see an acceleration paper.
Okay, so Nima, when's the magic going to happen?
I agree with both of with both Joe and Fabio. In general, I think the first interesting, it depends on what you mean by it. But the first interesting applications are around the high usually quantum computer conjunction. I mean, a lot of those algorithms that they develop, that's the resources really being used to mitigate some of the later algorithms. This gets me to the next point, which is the general framework of thinking, what problems would the quantum could be used for in the near term. You have to really think of three things. The first one is how difficult it is to communicate the nodes. So the metrics to actually see whether algorithms are new or not is whether they can solve the problem with fewer number of gates compared to the previous algorithm. The more gates you have, the less control your algorithm would be. Second one is how difficult it is to enforce the problem. Qubits, I think we mentioned that very briefly. You have a problem that requires 10 to the power of 10 in terms of the number of variables translated to the number of qubits that you need. Then you're going to be far away from that. But there are problems of optimization that could be interesting in the short term that don't have that much. The third one is our classical computer going to be our classical computer scaling really badly in terms of solving that problem or not. And this is cumulative that I talked about. When you look at quantum calculation, like computational chemistry, it scores more highly than lower volume. And that's why I think a lot of people are talking about quantum chemistry the same on performance. But there are optimization problems that we have been looking at that actually they could be very interesting. I think in terms of seeing a number against things, if you come up with more robust algorithms and find and if we decrease the noise on the qubit with the same pace that we have been doing in the past couple of years, I think with around 30, 40 qubits, we can start doing things. With around 60 things actually will be really interesting because then classical computers are going to be very tough for them to simulate and things going on quantum computers. When you go above 100, I think probably 100 to 500. I think that then there is basically a regime when massive value.
Okay, so push you on that. Okay, massive value. What is that going to be? What are we going to
be between $5 billion? The market is going to be between $5 billion to
Doing what?
Depends on what industry you're talking.
Chemistry,
Some of it is quantum machine
learning, optimization, all these things.
and lots of it is quantum chemistry. Some of it is optimization. I don't know too much about machine learning, so I have to be completely honest. I don't know about quite much. I am a little skeptical mainly because machine learning is a field where some of the smallest people in the world in the past 5 years have been pushing the frontiers of it. And what we are talking about, massive value comes when quantum computing, including a quantum computer in your computational workflow, actually helps you accelerate things or make them more accurate or make them cheaper. And because we have advanced so much in machine learning, I think the bar is much higher when it comes to these things. But I don't know enough about it to say.
Okay, so generally the consensus is that it depends on us getting hardware, right? Getting more. So
I'm making your algorithms
and making the, as well as improving the algorithms, as well as discovering new algorithms, there's a whole bunch of, there are variables. So let's talk about hardware. So now, are we, sort of, over the last few years, there have been a lot of promises published in the media. And maybe they're not promises, maybe they're speculation, but there's been a lot of noise in the media about how, it looks as though we're going to have some breakthroughs or acceleration in quantum computing hardware and the number of functions. Are we accelerating, or are we staying on path, or are we decelerating to the speed at which we are getting to, sort of low noise, high quality qubits that are functional? Hardware, tell me. I mean, do you feel as though we're going as fast as you expected, or faster or slower?
I think we're on a very, I'll go first.
Yeah.
I think we're on a very rapid, path for our track record as we get I don't know too much about the mechanics. Our track record has been pretty consistent. We have been doubling every year around 8-9 months. Now what we say about. I mean, we don't see like all the problems that we face in our problems, engineering problems, but we don't see massive slowdown going forward. But that's not the only thing we should be looking at. A lot of conditional scaling is just having better qubits, and our systems we have been our pace of progress has been much faster than even doubling our number of qubits. So I think things are moving really fast, but because we are starting from small base at first place, it takes a while until we all get to those numbers of talking about for very.
So are we going faster or slower than the other?
So, I think let you know about some of the
right.
IBM likes to focus on a measure of quantum computing called quantum volume, a measure of the power field. So it's supposed to just do qubits, such and quantum volume, basically counts the number of qubits, the error rate, properties and stuff. One thing we have demonstrated is that since 2016, when we introduced the first we have doubled the quantum volume every year. And our projections is that will continue on the linear scale for the next
Linear what? Okay, got it.
It's a good question. Go read the paper. It's a little, basically, it is a little subtle.
Okay, all right, so that's quantum volume, not just qubits.
Right. Because we've also demonstrated double the number of qubits, but the quantum volume keep adding more errors, qubits, whereas our recent that we introduced that we got, even though it's only a 22 device or 52 device, it is our most powerful device.
So, Raj, what can you just tell us about?
Sure, and I think to start answering your question, the industry is probably moving slower than the media
so to speak, one of the dealer that's at the top. That doesn't mean it's better than a 20 qubit chip or a simulation of 40 qubit test. Quality of the qubits matters significantly. A lot of what we are stating our reputation on at Google as an engineering company is that whatever we're putting out, the acceptable, the error or the noise has to be below a certain threshold. It has to be of a quality that is making progress towards a commercially useful quantum computer. That's very different from pursuing a goal of quantum computing, which we talked about a little bit earlier. So if you take nothing else away, it's that quality matters as much as performance. And the quality dictates the level of noise that the sheet is going to speak with it, and the quality of the answer that we get to that.
Okay, so further on the hardware side, I want to ask you guys maybe an uncomfortable question. Is it possible that the current architecture, the supercooling gate architecture is dead? Is it possible that you're going to have? So Joe is the only one of the three of you hardware guys who alluded to the possibility that maybe we'll make a shift. IBM thinks in sort of century scale time. I mean, forgive me, but is it possible? I mean, are you guys considering the possibility that maybe you're going to have to flip to a different architecture to get to 1,000 or more qubits?
Okay, I would say there's a very real possibility that no one in this figures it out. Right? There's a possibility all three of us figure it out. There's a possibility one of us figures it out. There's a possibility that this doesn't work out for anybody who's pursuing. So this is still groundbreaking science and physics that we're all pursuing. So I think it's a very real possibility that not just an architecture change is required, but even without an architecture change, no progress is being made. Classical computing is also at a different rate, but it's possible that that's kind of medicine.
I just want to, I know I'm not, but I very much trying to end with column devices. So I think one of the interesting that now that's really moving on the lab is feasible. And there's a lot of our people working on this right now. Is question of consumption, which is taking microwave signal and triggers the common property and the conversion. Having the something like millimeter wave or having the So I'm personally interested because I'm very interested in how the triggers and how does that affect in terms of the distributed quantity. But I think that also could be some of the answers to how are the how the resolution and integration. If we can actually connect multiple computers together, what is to say where are the limits and what is the more interesting kind of applications and how we can scale on computers.
So you software guys, are you thinking, boy, maybe there's another architecture that's going to sort of rise up in a few years and turn out to be more attractive as a platform than the superconducting data. Are you looking at other architectures and
at UC where we're definitely looking at other architectures. As a matter of fact, we're open to all architectures. And as an algorithm person, at one level, I guess the way if I'm thinking about research, I normally don't care too much where it will run, so long as it can run the number of gates that I need it to run. That being said, because we're also focused on the near term, I do have to think right now about different architectures and given an algorithm, what is the best architecture to run it on? So maybe something to bring up. We don't have anyone here working on ion traps. Ion traps are probably another very interesting architecture to look out for in the near term. There's been some announcements and actually a couple of papers recently about progress in ion trap machines. I think one really interesting fact about ion trap machines
that make them promising in the near term is the fact that they achieve more or less all-to-all connectivity. So with the superconducting chips, you have some connectivity that's essentially dictated by the chip architecture. With ion traps, I would just say it tends to be a little bit better, which means that you can effectively run more versatile or fully connected algorithms on it. It's still, we still haven't been able to test these, except the bakers that did that internally, but it's definitely something to look out for. And if some other architecture shows up, we're definitely interested in investigating it. So I think anything is progress, and I'm sure that there's something else that shows up that's really promising, that hardware vendors would be willing to look at it as well.
Yeah, I'd like to ask, I don't think it's a question of what is the best hardware. I don't think it has to be winner take all kind of stuff. Different hardware platforms have different strengths. There are trade-offs. Right? People probably didn't mention, but depending on what algorithm you're running, maybe one would be a hardware better. Another thing is, some of these hardware platforms may have physically longer clearance times. They can be used as sort of temporary storage, for example. That's handy if we have something like have a network so connected computers. One of them is sitting there waiting for incoming transmission from another one, but it has to be security. Certainly also support device take a hardware and bring it back to the other type that you got it covered. In fact, if I had to bet, I would say that this hybrid platform situation is maybe the most likely.
So I want to open this up then. Part of the promise here is to open up to questions. So give me a second. Just wanted to prep you. I'm glad to see that you're all ready for that. I have one last question I want to ask the audience, and then give you a shot. Okay? And that has to do with the sort of the global competitive nature of quantum computing. And it seems to me that there is a lot of cross-border collaboration in this topic. But on the other hand, I'm not sure if that applies between China and the West, if that's true or not. I don't know. But do you guys feel fiercely independently competitive, or do you see crossover between academia and quantum and commercial in quantum? I don't know what work is being done in terms of collaborative consortiums and sort of collaborative research. Are we becoming more sort of competitive, or are we being collaborative in the pursuit of quantum? Is that a topic that anyone wants to talk about?
Yeah, maybe I can have to, because our company is based in the UK. We do a lot of collaboration with US. For example, we have a project with one for national lab and relationship with likewise, we're also looking for collaboration. So that's definitely what's happening. So that the shed collaboration is happening, but I think China, for example, country, definitely scope for customers.
I can add a little bit about the kind of the landscape that is on the quantum networking scale. So definitely China and Europe has worked very effort in this part. Definitely China has had a lot of investment in it. They have probably a lot of state of art that you're looking for in terms of probably finding the papers and topics. I mean, there are definitely exceptions. There are certain parts of it. But also in European, there's a lot of the big work execution from So, so in that perspective, in networks are currently there is on the network, on network changes happening, that's trying to also put together, sectors, but I think there's a bigger role so that the network will not cycle or actually kind of brand.
Okay, great. Okay, let's go to questions. You guys are going to first. All right.
Thank you. I have two questions. One on communication. You talked about the need for a secure room, and I was interested in the concept of encapsulating the room in hermetically sealed satellite. Is that something that's possible? I've heard that Chinese companies are working on that communication. Also, for the rest of you, the quantum RAM, I think, is absolutely essential for a whole wide variety of important machine learning algorithms. There's an anesthesiologist in Arizona who believes that the tubulin molecules inside every one of our neurons form a kind of qubit. And I'm wondering, is there any kind of work on quantum RAM based on tubulin qubit?
Okay, so you want to start and figure these questions?
I think it was for kind of a satellite-based room size of security. I mean, I think you can do possibly secure communication today. That's not a problem. I'm not sure how practical that is. In terms of satellites, what the Chinese group has done, they basically went announcement. What they did was they did the common information distribution from a city satellite communication. So we mainly look at hardware, so we try to send our information coming from providers. But another way of doing it is using our air communication. And the leading way that people are doing it for that is satellite. And the reason that there's an extra rule for that is for fiber, there's very high symmetrical scale area. But for satellite, it's going to be very hard for them to stay in the satellite receivers in cities where they're actually able to get the whole thing. So it's probably in near term the model that is most feasible is actually a dual station that satellite communications are long distance. But within a metropolitan city area, we use fiber for communication. So I think that was content. And that's something about knowledge.
Well, yeah. So
I only know
any biologists on the panel that we talk about the quantum nature of our neurons. Quantum RAM.
Know that there are people who are interested in looking at how our brain may be kind of consequences because certain calcium molecules in your brain can be wrong. I read most people on that, so that's something you can probably do. But there is something.
Okay. Next question. There. Yep. Touched on this. Okay.
Maybe I can maybe just to clarify. I guess first of all, like with this, maybe the most common use of hybrid model is the one that was talked about first, which is you do something on a quantum computer, you extract some information out of it, you pass that on to a classical computer, which does something with it. Normally, it just changes some parameters and then calculates something again, and you kind of iterate until you're happy. The other hybrid model, like that I'm talking about, was essentially a hybrid model where you use different architectures of quantum computation to do certain other tasks. I'm going to focus on the first one because it may be the most relevant to your data scientist. So, so whether or not the papers are kind of available, right? So in principle, data science or read them. Nevertheless, they're busy and they have other things to do. So normally it's not like an easy thing to just put in your Jupyter notebook. Although of course each hardware vendor as well they're making their own kind of API on top of that allows you to do certain things. But maybe as a software as a company that's creating a software platform, maybe I can provide a little bit more information with that. One of our goals is actually to make quantum computing easily available to anyone that's classically trained. So there's, a set of tasks that data scientists are used to doing, or maybe they want to solve some optimization problem. So we actually already have a beta version of a platform that does this, where if you want to solve, for example, a binary optimization problem over Boolean variables, you can just call a function and pass on a standard Python dictionary, and it gives you an answer. So, I think that there will be more and more examples of this. If quantum machine learning were available, if there were an advantage to running the quantum machine learning algorithm on a computer, we will have, by then we'll have a function that provides that functionality as well. And all you have to do is know what classical computation you want to do, and then just call the function. You won't.
Yeah. So, and you basically the process to eight. So, you, but I'm sure they all have some. But if you think about it in terms of process, frankly, that's a lot. We don't talk about when we use a GPU as our main because we have to get rid of the term.
Okay, question. Can you say something about the distinction between what's the difference between quantum advantage and quantum supremacy?
Sure. So the way we look at it is, you might want to set a problem or an experiment that will exhibit a quantum advantage or quantum speed up. Therefore, you would take that problem state with running on the hardware. So for us, when we're talking about quantum supremacy, we're talking strictly about the experiment of quantum hardware and the classical hardware. We're not that's the only way context would be different. Quantum advantage and quantum speed up is really focused on the properties of the experiment or problem being tested.
So it sounds like the formulation on the language to realize you will get more. When you take quantum computer in your professional work to achieve a faster, cheaper, or more accurate result. The result of
Just to extend that, though, the implication is for that aspect of the compute, you must be demonstrating quantum supremacy. Otherwise, you're going to
that's the thing that I should be. I'm not speaking there with the computer. If a custom computer can simulate what you're doing on the computer rather than sitting up or doing certain things.
by definition, by definition, if a quantum computer speeds it up, then by definition, that quantum supremacy for that particular application.
Because you might not be able to do the problem in a computer. So, for the example we gave, or the example I gave earlier, on the case we published around that was, I think, by using sort of hybrid being different systems of classical and quantum advantage. Those quantum advantage can exhibit a quantum advantage problem and improve the result of it. It doesn't necessarily mean that we can achieve quantum supremacy. We can't run the whole new thing on quantum hardware.
Okay, all right. The other question. Okay, all right. Okay, yeah. Storage section, I don't know. Okay, quantum storage. How are we going to store data between computations?
I think we I personally said whether it's IBM. And the only thing I'll tell you about this, everybody tells me many years ago. You know, there are problems. Problems that not be able to do this. There are a lot of problems, and again, everybody's told me the same thing. So, either maybe leadership or no more things for your reflection. But you know, this is what I'm not a business. I see something.
Okay, question. Actually, the biggest issue is, right, you don't really have two parties to be pilot. And also, look at the effect of biological signal. The DSP problem. In this case, the DSP problem is memory is structural memory handle. We're still trying to get the microphone. There really needs to be a necessary discussion. You get a lot of value for that. To really be able to do storage, and in memory, things, how we're meals, really do some really good reflective. That can be in cloud or in distributed the ability to do security stuff. Okay, so the question on that there, I mean, so do we have a compiler problem? If people building them know that, I mean, man.
I mean, I guess, this is not my area of expertise, but I can maybe so the question is, if you want to find the shortest possible quantum circuit given way to implement the that you want to implement, that's a hard one. That's very hard, and actually, you know, it's hard enough that we know that we won't have a compiler that's used this task, unless some mathematical. We won't have. So you know, people are working. Essentially, all the hardware vendors are working on, and if you see, on actually efficient compilation. You know, us at UCR, what we do right now is we just program the circuit directly. It requires a little bit of thinking. So you know, we may not find the most efficient compilation, but in the long run, that actually isn't too important. You can, if you have good enough qubits, then adding 1 or 2 extra gates, that's not too bad. If the cost of finding the best solution is doing a classical pre-computation that takes 2 days versus getting a good enough solution in 10 seconds or normally less, then you know the compilation problem isn't as big a deal. Nevertheless, you do want to push heuristics, so you do want to work on it. I'm just saying that finding the best allocate gate assignment isn't necessarily.
How do you have a start so far? How do you protect, especially in the single DSP here in Peril, or situation that you can make sure that it's random, consistent, have long-term storage memory, so we might take this offline. We might take this offline and let somebody has a coaching comment. All right, so we'll follow up there. Okay, let's go way in the back. Okay.
Sorry, we can barely hear you.
Yeah, you're gonna have to, I need to move loud. We actually have a mic. Hey! So, the question I had is sort of related to, so then, we program the computer, we program, great algorithm, that's the foundation. Using one log, or cheap,
ways to sell certain products. So instead of optimizing games, we instead of quality. Is that something?
Yeah, Bobby, yeah, want to be on this?
I can give a brief answer. So, I mean, e-waste, what might have heard as an example of this, what they do is they sort of try to find the minimum of some quadratic binary optimization. So it's specialized for that. It can't do general computation. So, they've been around for quite a while as well. And they do have more qubits. So, they're actually alluded to this. So we do have examples of this, but I think that even with that, it's hard enough, and the limitations are such that I guess the industry has gone in another direction. So there are examples that is just currently the area of the thing.
I completely agree with that, and also really making it general purpose is not really. That's one thing. The second thing is that even the general purpose computers that we are developing, because of the number of qubits and the error rate, etc., they really are special purpose computers for the time being, for the next few years, until we can actually have so many qubits that any kind of computer can solve. So, I think because that's what the next because yes, and we're not only for
but there is probably optimizing. Maybe for my game machine.
But I think the point is that that's not the gating item.
one of those things about all those things is that great things that happen in the world as well. It is not possible.
Yeah. Okay. Another in the back. Now, yes, you. Yes, can you come forward? Well, yeah,
Yeah, no, as an architecture, I'm just thinking, I'm just wondering if anyone is currently researching that area. Like, why would this? Yeah, I think it's thinking about, like, using a substrate that like, we don't worry about, but it is a single use.
is that a variation on your feet?
Well, I don't. Yeah, I don't think.
Okay.
It wasn't about RAM, but it was.
Okay. Unfortunately, we got cities on the space station, we don't have biology.
I will make I can make just a quick comment about that. I mean, I guess all physicists would be more than happy to investigate an organic molecule that has long coherence time. But just, like, you need more than that, right? So you need a system that has long coherence time. You need a system that you have enough control of it to be able to do the operations that we know to be enough to simulate whatever you need to simulate. You need to be able to read out the answer. You need to be able to connect the different molecules. So if, this is very far from my specialty, but I feel like if there were a demonstration that certain organic molecules do have these properties, then people would definitely look at it. I have not seen it simulated.
Yeah.
Something which has come up that is done, but this is a
based on outcome measures, based on the outcome of the feedback of which and by giving the measurement, we can emulate and this is a totally, this is another approach, exercise, bring it up, partially, yeah, but also because it's sort of destroyed. Want to do another computation. So another issue.
Is this to, very good about the talking about the being that everyone mentioned what kind of students they're using, and I have not mentioned what kind of students actually give the data process. Like, think longer down fiber line, and obviously I'm not going to vary things over the fiber line in some kind of high school system. So, for this reason, I use photonic qubits the same as what the regular cell phone. Equipment, and the human being is photonic qubits are actually very stable, very long, very long. So in this sense, yes, it's really long, but the reason it has really long, so I get to interact with the qubits is part of that.
So the next event, 3, right? Number 3, I want to get an ion trap team here, and I want to get a photonic team here. We can get bigger room, bigger stage, and maybe for time and maybe more air conditioning. I don't know. So,
What's the hashtag?
But, what is the hashtag? Overwhelmed. You're responsible. What? We don't have a hashtag? Yeah, overwhelmed. Why not? Nikki, what are you doing? Okay. All right, next question. You make a hashtag. Yes?
UP3.
So is the essence of your question, if these guys had more money, could they move faster? Is that the essence? If you guys had more money, could you move faster?
Last I checked, you had quite a bit.
Yeah. So, the flip side of that question is, with all due respect, you guys were not passionately optimistic about changing the universe in 2 years, right? I mean, and so, okay, you are, okay.
I think that's just part of the pipeline, is that maybe I don't think touched on it, just qualified people to do is extremely. Like, you've got large companies, IBM being one of them, Google being another, you've got Gates. Every company represented up here is going after a small talent. So I say, yeah, money comes. The reality is, it's a hard problem that we need more money. So, and that's what the invitation we talked about is actually a huge advantage. We need to enrich that pipeline. I mean, if you were to look at STEM graduates across the country, the U.S. is going to get something. If I were to take a U.S.
Well, this is not a STEM issue, right? I mean, we're talking. Okay.
I mean, the thing that we love what you use, because people with good objects, on the community, and when they actually came to our team, they after something over, and they did become extraordinary minds, and they were very creative and motivated technology. But some of the biggest people. So I think it is one thing that it actually is a money issue in the sense that a lot of those people would be taking positions in your company, in other divisions, because software engineers, or machine engineers, making a lot of money that they would make maybe in a quantum structure or something else like this, but you pay very competitively, but still not really. So the point is that point I'm making is that it is to some extent, given that ultimately marketing is the greatest and can be solved by more resources. But I don't think it's linear scale. I think there are things that require time, advances in engineering that require time. But yeah, when it comes to more facilities for testing and media competence, yeah, they could do that.
You know, I know we're not used to that. Up there, yeah, you know, time rises, peers.
Sometimes not appreciated is that one block is also economic. That's the economic engine that powers the innovation. And it's not clear that there's going to be a similar room for exponential growth. If you end up getting stuck somewhere, like if it ends up being part of the creation of chemistry, you call it chemistry of things. Not like 100% fit that it takes 100 years. If it takes 100 years to get any progress, it's not clear that the economic
Which is that you're afraid that at some point people will get tired of funding this. Everything.
yeah, I mean, and not with the progress, sure, the big companies.
Okay, that's the front row, the second row, okay?
Your response. What's
I mean, theoretically, you can construct a library from computer. Your question was about the difference between the like quantum annealing. Let's focus on computers because it's the only commercially available. Versus circuit model computation products of the implementation. Then okay, there's a lot of research of what E-Wave is actually doing, and you know, the technical details are still an open question. But it's more or less known that the actual coherence time of the qubit is smaller than the sort of time that the computation takes, which means that it's not in the purely quantum regime. You're not bridging. You're not precisely implementing adiabatic evolution as envisioned. So the nice thing that we found out though is that even though you're not doing exactly what you love to do, you still get some interesting results out of it. So I guess I'm not sure exactly what the question is, but some comments are like, yes, it's harder technically on the hardware side to you know, connect qubits with and preserve the coherence so that you can perform entanglement operations. All of them, the larger your system. When you have when you implement a specific purpose on a computer, it's a couple things that are happening. It's not just that you're not performing any universal computations, but also you're kind of, in the Dewitt case, you're foregoing coherence and not really staying in the purely quantum regime, but in hopes that you can still do something.
Okay, yeah, question now.
So, years ago, we would use much weird.
What kind of engineer, like,
I'm not so fun. I mean,
So you want to get the form, is that your question?
yeah.
Is there a hacker academy for quantum?
I always play close to it's a really good book. You know, it's reason it.
Q is for quantum.
A lot of these lessons. No, I have no affiliation.
And the author is Peril.
Peril. He was it. He actually wrote this book. I was so this.
And then academy.
You know, not the part of that, you know, go on. And you got whatever.
but then I can say about this one, exactly what there's from experience, the quantum chemistry like on the time. Because one of everything we take from the simulated molecule, physical system, that's what we do. So I didn't have like on this one. And the kind of learning curve that they had was exactly starting from conceptual, big work, then fully starting to play with software development there, and really like getting your hands dirty. Like we have moved away from the complexity theory, the role of computing using paper, moving without moving. Advantages. I think we have moved towards this era where there is very possible on the software engineer world. We got a very good attitude towards things, getting your hands dirty, cloud in the development, you have them at the we have moved that playing with them, getting access to the computer out there.
How many people in the room here have already, are interested in getting involved with quantum computing? Okay. Hello. Wow.
Some people are very interested. I'm really curious to see what
So, you know, I thought I heard you people saying that it was hard to find out. Hello? Okay. So there is an MIT.
Yeah, all right, buddy of mine is like an annual here.
So everybody sign up. Okay?
We don't,
Question here? Really nice survey, very beautiful, really nice survey. Hardware side and what you're doing. Oh, you're in that one. Okay, did everybody pick up on that? How many people hesitated when he said Bing? Okay, sorry, that's now. Seriously, National Academy of Sciences? Yeah, National Academy, NAS, just NAS. It's like free online, it's really nice. good? All right. Yes. Okay, hashtag quantum meetup. All right, thank you.
Go, one thing,
What?
one,
Yes,
that
quantum challenge, the DARPA is doing. Okay, go to DARPA. Okay. So it sounds like there are a ton of resources out there if you if you tap in. Right? Okay, question here. Okay, qubits and noise.
Yes, when you use qubits, if you use the same quality qubits, when you use qubits, then you have to use the same. When there is a number of agents that exist in the with the molecules as well. However, you are rapidly, everyone talks about qubit quality, most players are rapidly equating their inner numbers to their qubits, and that is one factor for that. Simple physical limits on cooling basically, whether it's an issue, based on that, they have done nothing in the exam. That's the most important.
I don't think it's necessarily not. But I would certainly say, new packaging technology.
So we hit a just practical volume heat problem at some level of volume.
And not in the exam, but maybe at some point in the future, but we can learn about it.
Okay, is there any, it's just, along those lines though, with transistors, there was arguably an economy of scale. With qubits, there was this economy of scale. The nature of physics of connecting up qubits, you actually have a diseconomy of scale. In other words, as you scale, the problem challenge becomes exponentially harder as opposed to linearly harder. Whereas with transistors, it actually gets easier as you scale, right? In terms of efficiency, heat, blah, blah, blah. Right?
So transistors actually give some limits at some point as well, and then you have to actually come up with very extra point material, different material that actually make it.
Right.
At this point, again, in the near future, there's nothing that's
very
not immediate efficiency. There are engineering challenges which are
Okay, all right. We only have time for a couple more questions, Dan. Okay, we'll go there. Okay, sir.
The question is from we were talking about the increase in stand up now. When you were talking about the increase in qubits, talked about the increase of 60, 100, there'd be a massive amount. But recently, I think that $20 billion massive value. But the question was, what was coming down the pipe? You mentioned chemistry and quantification. There's got to be more to that valuation of $20 billion. So you can add on to that.
As a $20 billion, it's already close to there is a huge range of $20 billion. And that's one thing. The second thing is that I spent 12 years at McKinsey. So we learn how to size markets in a very top-down way. Again, that's the first one. The third one is that it's actually the analysis that we have done is across the few verticals, oil and gas, pharmaceuticals, the main one, oil and gas, finance, and we have thought we have to follow this vertical itself with the multi-step. One point is that in each of those verticals, there are certain use cases, and talk about that for the there are certain use cases which satisfy those and those constraints that cost the quality of the qubits we have for that relevant language, plus the number of qubits that are required. Some small columns that they have in there, they actually can reduce the constraints and based on the design that they would have for the company that they are in that.
Okay, question. No, I'm sorry. Here, and then, okay, and then that's what that will be the last question. Okay?
So I guess my question may go to the whole company again. My main question is that do you think that quantum computing stays kind of the same thing as a computer, or it could be, what if you think about a quantum computer, that's for me, invest on the personal computer and how it becomes a mobile. And now that industry itself becomes ethereum, so some people talk about like industrial economic support. If you think about quantum computing, it's very important to kind of go out in the lab, everyone has kind of, right? So what kind of possibilities that you happen from the computing of mainframe to kind of more inside quantum computing as maybe the scale of the system or maybe the quantum or
never be LME or the high mainframe that we're all never going to have your phone or be more than I will go out to them and say, you know, computers will only always exist in data. Right? Here we go. Years from now, it's happy to well can't think.
Okay, but wait, I mean, so it depends on where the line for quantum is. You want, right?
I'm talking about quantum computing.
Okay, all right.
Like quantum communication, quantum sensing, those are the things that everybody asks, when I just get my quantum chip. Right.
Just to clarify, so when I talk about quantum computer, that one that's very easy for there is some results that you actually have the privacy on your computing if you are in your time. So maybe that there would be another comment I would make, and I didn't really push this for mostly because the state where common memory is, it was required of really figuring out how to do a little bit of error correction. But with reasonable quality of common memory, which really needed is we are building a long-scale common network. We don't have to put that in a quantum computer. Actually, with that, the interesting part which is actually the computer knows there is a memory to serve a small computer. So overall, if you do have a very large scale network with small units in it, you can actually then the network as just a computer resource rather than the network. But once again, this requires us to figure out the memory.
Okay. No, I'm going to say, you read that, yes.
It's sort of a hard question.
Okay, yes. And we come up with a standard benchmark to compare our position.
IBM. But we're being open and very open. I think not my area.
Just to give you a little bit of background, so there is actually a group of Development Council, and to get like and here for sure. We're all involved with this, and part of the effort is to come up with a standard. Once they're available, standards groups, try to figure out how we put standards in different, not just policy, how we come up with different standards. And I think also I truly am very interested in trying to study their standards. I truly so it's work in progress, but there's a lot of collaborative effort happening.
And one thing I think, in terms of, what is the statement of account, when you design the benchmark, what is the benchmark, among many other things, one thing that I think we should move as well is the metric should be something that near-term computers, this computer can actually be measuring. So it should be meaningful when we compare this computer to the like peers and that. I think one volume actually does a good job of that. I think the ones that I remember having mentioned that from my instruction, I think they were it's a little possibly then being very useful for the EMTM variation algorithm.
So Bernstein was running.
Bernstein was running, I would do that. So yeah, that's what we.
So the answer is they're working on it. It looks like we are getting standards put together. So with that, I do appreciate you all staying this late. I certainly appreciate you guys, and all of the time and effort. If you'll join me in thanking. Thank you guys so much, and thanks to Google for hosting us this evening, and thank you for CSPA and everybody else who was involved and who done it. And Book Culture, and sorry. And all the other sponsors, and thank you all. And is there some food outside or not? No more food. You guys had all the food, so I don't get dinner. Huh? Thank you all. Thank you. You guys are great. Thanks.
Didn't get it.
Still the survey. Maybe I have to survey.
No, don't do it.
So was it both